Brooke Schofield is being canceled and we need to talk about it. Hey everybody, if you are new here, make sure you like and subscribe so you can stay up to date on all things theme park, cruise, and travel and internet gossip, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a video. It's crazy to me that someone with this much influence said the things that she allegedly said. We're going to go over these tweets. We're going to go over her apology and her second apology. It's crazy to me that you have to not only make one apology, but then make another apology. I am going to be blind reacting to her apologies. I have not watched them, but I do know that she had to come back and make another apology, which is just mind-blowing to me. Like, what is going on with this person? I have seen the tweets. I have to say they are some of the most disgusting things I have read on the internet in a very long time. This is coming from someone who used to own a beauty pageant system. This is definitely somebody I would not want my kids to look up to. They don't look up to her anyway. But if you have a kid and she is someone who influences them, you want to make sure you stay till the end of this video. Let's go ahead and take a look at these tweets. We're going to talk about them and then we'll get into her videos. This tweet happened the day after Zen was acquitted of Trayvon Martin. The fact that she took the time, and if you look at the tweet, it's at like 2:30 in the morning. The fact that she went to Twitter and tweeted this, and even tweeted part of it in all caps, absolutely ridiculous to me. The fact that she thinks George Zimmerman was justified by getting away with his crime, and it's not like George Zimmerman is this outstanding guy who turned his life around. He was charged with a for pulling out on his girlfriend. Like, come on. This is who we're defending? George's girlfriend did eventually drop these charges about a week later, allowing him to walk free once again. Wait, he's not done. A little while later, I think like a year later, he allegedly threatened to unallow someone in a road rage incident, but the driver decided not to press charges. I mean, this guy just keeps getting away with all kind of crazy stuff. Here is Brooke over here defending him on Twitter. And I want to make one thing absolutely clear. Trayvon Martin was a child. He was only 17 years old. And the fact that his life was cut short because of George Zimmerman, who, let's be honest, is trash, is absolutely tragic. In another tweet, she says, the entire trial was so twisted by the media, half of you couldn't describe what happened. Girl, can you describe what happened? Her mom replies to this one and says, I'm so glad you pay attention. Pay attention to what? Ignorance? What is going on? Now, let me just say that Brooke has said that she was not raised by her mom and her mom was a drug addict and blah, blah, blah. However, that is not relevant to this story whatsoever. Then Brooke tweeted, quit acting like Zen shot a child. The kid was 17. Bitch, that means he was a child. In your own sentence, you say the kid was 17 years old. So her mom replies and says the media was showing pics of him at 12, not 5'10". So? And I know sometimes it's hard when you grow up with family members who have these outrageous views that you don't agree with. You either choose to be your own person and voice those opinions to your family members, or you choose to hold it in. I'm not saying either way is right or wrong. But one thing you don't have to do when you grow up is continue to say those things. My point is, you can't use your family members' beliefs, criminal history, thought process, or anything to validate or vindicate anything that you say and you do as an adult. And then Brooke can turn around and be on one of the most popular podcasts across all podcasting platforms. Absolutely ridiculous to me. I think it's really ironic that she is a part of the canceled podcast and she is being canceled. I mean, who would have thought? Then it makes me wonder, is that why these girls named the podcast Canceled? Because they think it's funny? This next tweet says, oh my God, I swear I had nappier hair this morning than most African Americans on this end of our country. I don't know why I said it like that. Just go with it. Girl, not you with the slick back bun and the pin straight hair saying something like that. That's not racist at all. Now on this one, you can tell she thought she was being really cute. Cassie yells racist profanities in the movie theater. Only minority in the room is sitting directly behind us. Girl. This one says, I said so many accidentally racist things last night. I don't even know how I made it back to America. Girl, you are not cute. Like, at all. This one says to you or to not you everyday struggle. You are sick, and how disrespectful to everyone who has ever been through something like that. You are a piece of white trash. Not just trash, white trash. Certified. This one says, quit calling me while you're drunk, F-slur. I don't even want you when I'm sober. This one's super original. You can't trade lap dances for cheeseburgers because after a little while, no one will want a lap dance from a fat person. Well, girl, some people might. Then she says, oh, I see. I'm going to go later because I get all embarrassed when I work out like a fat girl. Girl, how does a fat girl work out? Like, what? This one says, I sure wish I didn't have to dress like a for work. Okay. This one was comedic gold. What do you call a Mexican baptism? Bean dip. Girl, you're so dumb. Allegedly. I guess the one thing good I can say about Brooke at this point is she didn't leave anybody out. She made sure she offended every single type of person in this world. A lot of people are actually not surprised about the racist tweets because she is co-host on the Cancel podcast with Tana Mojo, who has a history of saying very racist things herself. So I think it's only appropriate that we look at some of her tweets to see what she has to say. This is Tana saying, what hurt more, this flame or when you were thrown over the border, you Cuban piece of shit? So I think the reason why all of this is so crazy, the fact that it's coming out right now, is because of this internet roller coaster that Brooke has been on lately. Not too long ago, everyone was throwing their support at her because of the Clinton Kane situation. If you want to hear about that, let me know in the comments below. I'll be happy to do a story on that. But it's absolutely ridiculous what this guy did to her as well as his previous girlfriends. The story is just crazy. The internet was really showing their support for her. Now we find out all of this stuff about Brooke, and it's really disturbing that this is someone that people look up to. What's even crazier about this story is that this information, all these tweets came out like a year ago, but nobody was talking about it. Now all of a sudden people are talking about it. Not only did Brooke know that this information was out there on the internet, she actually responded to it. The thing is, nobody knew it was her that was responding to it because she replied to a Reddit thread. Now this post was anonymous, but allegedly this is from Brooke. I will absolutely address, especially if people are hurt by them. Girl, if. I have talked about it a few times before, how I look back on things I used to think were funny and normal jokes to make, and I'm just as disturbed as you are. I don't think it's normal. I don't think it's okay. Just because I was kidding or young, I think it's gross and horrible. I love you all and I do take accountability. I hate when people say things like, I didn't know better or anything along those lines, so I don't want to come across that way at all. But I truly thought I was anti-racist at the time. Girl, how? You can find tweets from the same time frame where I'm saying things like, I don't care if you're cute or old, being racist is ugly, etc. I just truly thought I was being funny and I absolutely wasn't. I know differently now and I try to make that known the best I can. There are family members I haven't spoken to since 2020 when I realized where they stood during BLM, and I have grown into myself and my own belief system outside of what I grew up around. I love you guys and I'm sorry to anyone who is hurt reading those. It was never funny. So that's out there. And I think the issue with this is the jokes. Like, girl, what are you talking about jokes? A kid died. Then Brooke allegedly responded with this right here. I hadn't seen the Zimmer tweets when I wrote about bad jokes. And that absolutely could never be dismissed as a bad joke. It was a terrible take that I probably wholeheartedly believed at that time. I was wrong. I have spoken openly before about what I thought growing up versus what I believe now. Growing up, it was just me and my grandpa, an 80-year-old conservative man who played Rush Limbaugh through the house all day. I didn't know anything about politics as a teenager, but I would listen to him and other people around me and piece together these opinions when I truly had no idea what I was talking about. I wanted to feel like I was in the know without doing any actual research. And as ashamed as I am to admit it, I didn't start to understand how wrong a lot of it was until I was an adult. Once I moved to LA and was fully on my own was when I finally started actively learning and began to form my own opinions. But I understand what a privilege it is to get all the way to adulthood without having to really learn or care about politics. Most people do not have that luxury. And while of course I am grateful to know what I know now, I wish I put in the effort sooner. I am sorry about the tweets, and I am sorry to anyone who is hurt or disappointed by them. I am too, and I will do better. So those are still up on Reddit. They were posted about a year ago. And here's my question. If you're saying you will do better, how are you going to do better? What have you actively done, even since last year, to be this better version of yourself? To be this version where people of all shapes, sizes, colors, and preferences look up to? What have you done to make sure you are someone that should be influencing people who watch your podcast? What have you done, Brooke? Because from what I can see, you haven't done anything. Maybe if you would have sat down in a bathrobe and taken the same energy that you took to make all of those TikTok videos about an ex-boyfriend who agreeably was pretty gross, maybe then people would be a little more empathetic towards you. But you didn't do that. Obviously, what is important to you is showing the world how you were done wrong in previous situations, but we're going to skirt over the fact that you were a really nasty person for a really long time. And I'm sorry, but simply saying that you're going to do better doesn't mean anything to me. The things that you said in those tweets were not only racist and ignorant, they were dangerous. And I'm sorry, but I don't think you are anybody anyone should be looking up to. Brooke does actually issue an apology in the form of a video, but in my opinion it's rushed, it's not sincere. She's emotional, but I'm left wondering, is she emotional for herself, or is she really being emotional because of the things that she has done in the past? As you can imagine, this wasn't not received well.
Had a lot to say about accountability lately and how important it is and how far it can go, and I feel like I'm not taking my own advice. Obviously by now you guys have seen the tweets that are circulating around. They unfortunately are not fake. Those are real tweets, like real things that I said. First of all, I want to acknowledge that I feel the same way about them that you do. I think they're so disturbing, they're wrong, they're horrible, and they're disgusting. Of course, I do appreciate the people who are coming to bat for me and like saying like, you know, it was so long ago and like she's grown and stuff, but like it doesn't fucking matter. Like it literally does not matter. They are horrible. I want to talk about particularly the Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman situation. I try not to be so emotional because I don't want it to seem like it's like a sympathy thing at all. I also don't want to blame anybody else at all, and so I'm trying like to be really careful about that. I just want to explain like and give some context into like my mindset at the time, because I have seen like some comments today that are like, well, no shit, she's racist, like white nepo baby, like a little like spoiled brat, like. And that was not my situation. And my parents were addicts, so I was adopted by my grandparents when I was like 10, and I grew up with them from that point on. And as is true for a lot of grandparents, they're a little bit less progressive than a lot of us are now. And my grandma has dementia, so it was really just like me and my grandpa. And he is a very, very right-wing conservative man, okay? It was like my household was literally news all the time. Rush Limbaugh, like if you guys know who that is, like playing literally all day long through the house, and that was just like the only thing ever that I had been exposed to.
It's just a little annoying to me because I can't help but feel like she's making excuses, or not even excuses. She's trying to tell you her reason for the things that she did. There is no reason, there is no excuse. She does kind of say that, but it still comes across as she's making excuses or giving reasons for the things she did. It just doesn't come across as sincere. This tweet kind of had the internet a little bit confused. Nobody really knew what she was talking about. Brooke didn't actually write this tweet, but she did retweet it. It says, "The picture CNN didn't want you to see." It is a picture of a gorilla wearing a graduation cap. Nobody really knew what the picture was in reference to, but we have recently been made aware that is in reference to 18-year-old Michael Brown's graduation photo. This is the photo that media outlets were using when talking about his case. He was shot and killed by a cop 8 days after his graduation. This cop didn't receive any charges of any kind in this case, claimed it was self-defense, which is really strange considering that Michael was unarmed and shot 12 times. Pictures of gorillas referencing racist ideas of people of color is not something that's new. This has been something that has been referenced for centuries. It's absolutely disgusting. These are the things that we're talking about. It's a post from her Facebook page back in 2020. Apparently, she was a part of the Black Lives Matter movement. But to be honest with you, this post doesn't really matter that much to me because in 2020, every white girl wanted to be a part of the BLM movement if they believed in it or not. In my opinion, that's just what everybody was doing, and that really doesn't mean a lot to me. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that white people were not inspired to change by the BLM movement. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is, based off of her actions and based off of her lack of actively doing things to show that she has changed, although she said she has changed several times, I don't trust her when she says back in 2020 she has done these things, because if you had, why haven't you addressed this sooner? Why does that video look so rushed and so ingenuous? I don't believe you. I don't believe what you're saying. I think you're just trying to save yourself from being canceled. That's the last thing you want. You have not been in the influencer space for years and years like Tana has. You are still new to this world of the internet and all of the popularity that you've gotten over the last couple of years. That's what makes us not believe you. So you can keep apologizing or take breaks from the internet, but I really don't think it's going to change the way most of us, in my opinion, look at you. And I think Brooke sees this, and I think this is why she made the second video trying to explain herself in a better way, in a more controlled way. Honestly, I don't know what she's trying to do at this point.
Seen my mom's Twitter because she was responding back and forth about the Trayvon Martin situation, and I just should have known better. I know her, and I should have known that she is not somebody that I take any sort of political insight from at all. Again, sometimes you have these people that you put on a pedestal and you think everybody older than you is smarter than you and knows everything, and they do not. Truthfully, it took me a really long time. I know some of the tweets I was 18 and people are yeah, she was old enough to know better. Honest to God, you guys, it wasn't until even after college that I really started to shift my way of thinking. And there are people in my life who I might have looked up to forever who I do not agree with. And I think it's amazing now that people are learning earlier on about politics and forming their own opinions outside of what their parents think or what they're hearing or whatever it is. But that just wasn't the case for me. Whatever I heard, I passed on. I'm sorry, very, very sorry to anybody who is hurt by the tweets, because obviously they are very hurtful. A lot of it is just why would I even say that? And I apologize for not having said something sooner. I just felt like I was getting these messages from people who were hurt by them, and I felt like by bringing more attention to it, I was just going to be hurting more people. Yeah. And that was not the right mindset. I should have said something sooner, and I would never let something go this far again. I love you all so much, and obviously I know that there are some people who are just not going to care for me anymore, and I understand that. I need you to know that that is not how I think. That is not what I believe, and I am 27 years old now. I've had so much time to learn and grow and formulate my own opinions, and they are nothing like they were when I was 17, 18 years old.
What are you talking about? You didn't want to address this because you didn't want to hurt more people? What are you talking about? That is the dodgiest statement I have ever heard. You should win an award for that. How can you sit there and tell us that you've done all these things to change and then turn around and say, well, I didn't say anything because I didn't want to hurt more people? What are you talking about? Your words and actions have already done the damage. You should be out there screaming from the rooftops, making 30-part TikToks about all the things you have done to change and to be a better person. All of the things you have done, the ways you have advocated for people of color or for people that have different preferences than you. And the fact that she thinks she can come on here and just make a couple of TikToks, sniffle a little bit, and then we are going to be dumb enough to believe that she is actually sorry for the things that she did. Absolutely proved to me, in my opinion, that she is not sorry for the things that she did, that she might still allegedly believe some of those things. If she didn't, she would sit down, take the time, care, consideration, and dedication to make this right. A boyfriend did some pretty gross things. She sat down with care, concern, some might even say allegedly, some elegance, explaining and telling her story. She brought attention to a situation. Look at it. It blew up. The internet was running to her corner in her defense, giving her all the praises that she needed and trying to do everything to make her feel better because she was a victim. Well, Brooke, what about your victims? When are you going to sit down in a white robe with your slicked back hair? Actually, you know what? You should have an afro. Let's see your nappy hair in a white robe. You know what? In a black robe. And let's see your apology videos. I want to see that more than anything. And don't do it for me or the other white people of the world. Do it for all of those people that you insulted. Oh my God, I literally thought we were done. We're not done. She's back at it again.
Talk about my last video, okay? Because I am listening to everybody, and obviously I am reflecting and looking back on it, and I do agree with everyone that I missed the mark. I obviously saw everything that was going on, and I saw how hurt everybody was by it, so I felt like I just had to put something out as soon as I physically could so that nobody thought I was ignoring the situation or didn't realize how important it was. But as a result of that, I put out this very emotional, scrambled video where I essentially made none of the points that I should have been making. First and obviously most important thing is that I'm so sorry, specifically to Black people and the other people of color who were offended by my tweets, okay? Because obviously I'm seeing a lot of positivity in the comments and people saying that they forgive me, and it's all white people. And that's how I know I did not address this properly at all. So I want to be clear that this is directed specifically to Black people and other people of color, and I'm not seeking white people's understanding or forgiveness or approval or whatever it is. Now, sorry is not enough, in my opinion, for the way that I was tweeting and the things that I was saying online at that time. And I know that there's no apology beyond reparations that can mend that wound. I don't care if I was a teenager, I was old enough to know better, and not only did I choose to say those things, I chose to say those things on a public platform, and I am very, very ashamed of it. Especially sorry to those who were affected in real time, because keep in mind, I had friends and family who were following me at that time and would have been hurt by those tweets, and I feel sick over that. The tweets were racist, okay? There's no getting around that. They cannot be dismissed as jokes or political opinions or anything else. It was racism. In my last video, I put all this emphasis on my family thinking it was gonna provide context, but instead it just made it look like I was pointing fingers and placing blame, and that was exactly the opposite of what I should have been doing. The fact of the matter is, nobody forced me to tweet those things. I tweeted those things on my own, and the blame is on me. A conscious choice to not learn about politics until I was a young adult. But that did not stop me from tweeting political opinions. I wanted to appear that I knew more than I did and that I was educated, and instead I was spreading harmful, very, very harmful misinformation. I had all the educational resources available to me to learn what was right, and I chose not to. However, the murder of Trayvon Martin has nothing to do with politics, okay? Trayvon Martin was a hate crime, was horrible, and he did not deserve it, and no Black person deserves it. When it happened, I repeated disgusting misinformation on a public platform, and I'm genuinely so disturbed by that. I truly cannot believe it. It makes me sick, truly sick to think about it now. Now, I mentioned in my last video how I didn't really open my eyes until after college, but I want to make it clear that when I say that, I'm referring to hate crimes in particular. It wasn't until after college that I realized how prevalent police brutality is and how common hate crimes are. It's constantly happening. I think a lot of people felt this way, but George Floyd shifted my mindset completely, okay? Because that's when I started to really research and learn what it was like and what it looked like to be anti-racist. I started to seek out my own resources and learn what reparations looked like and learn what I could do as a white person in situations like these. And I'm really, truly ashamed that it took me that long. I talked in my last video about how I grew up in a Republican household. And I didn't say that because I think all Republicans are racist, but I just wanted you to know that those are the only conversations that I had been exposed to. But then I went off to college, okay? And I went to college in Arizona, which is still a red state, but Arizona is also a state with a lot of diversity. And I was a public health major where so many elements have to do with race and racial inequality. I learned so much during that time, you guys. It was actually really eye-opening for me because I had a lot of thoughts my entire life that completely shifted once I started to learn things from other people's perspectives. So much of what I previously had believed to be true changed, and I started paying attention to things that I hadn't before. Again, I acknowledge that I was an adult at this time, and I had all the resources in the world available to me to educate myself prior to college, and I chose not to, and for that I am sorry. Really, really wish that I had. I wrote my college thesis on racial disparities, so how things like socioeconomic standing, health, housing, income, and so many other things can be affected by your race.
That's crazy that you're saying that while you were in college, you started to form your own opinions, and this is a tweet that you made. You said, "I started faking liberal views while writing college papers, and it's concerning how much my grades have improved since." Okay. You cannot tell me that this girl is genuine in any of these apology videos. There's even another one that, you know what, we're not even going to watch. It's ridiculous. You cannot convince me that Brooke is genuine, that she has done anything to enlighten herself. You cannot convince me that Brooke has done anything to learn about the things that she has said and done in the past. I know that her apology is not to me. I am just a basic white girl, but it makes me very upset that this is the type of person that is out here influencing millions. Brooke is going to be okay. Tana's going to be okay. The Canceled podcast is going to do just fine. Why? Because their target audience is not the audience that she has offended for pretty much most of the time that she's been on the internet. She has tried, in my opinion, to hide the fact that these are her views. I am so thankful that my daughters don't look up to influencers. My daughters know that things on the internet are fake. And that is something I am so thankful for. And I am so thankful that this apology is not targeted to me, because honestly, I would not accept it. It is my opinion that Brooke will say and do whatever she needs to say or do in that moment to get what she wants out of whatever situation she is in. She is always going to change the narrative, in my opinion, to fit whatever is best for Brooke at that moment in time. Now, I'm not an influencer and I'm very new to the internet space. One thing that I can say to Brooke or anyone that shares her views or alleged views is that you really need to look inside yourself. If you have a platform where millions of people are watching you and are influenced by you, you really should be a role model for that person. If you're going to say to us on the interwebs that you never asked to be a role model, if you're on the internet and you grow a following and you get on a podcast, on a very popular podcast, you know that people are going to look up to you. It is then your responsibility to be someone worthy of being looked up to. If you're not, at least be responsible enough to actually do the things that you say you're going to do. We don't believe you've done that. And the reason why we don't believe that is because While you were in college, you said you were making these own opinions and changing, but then you make tweets about faking liberal views. If you're faking liberal views, what else are you faking? That's why nobody believes you. We don't need to see another apology video. What we need to see is actionable change from you. What are you doing for the community that you essentially were spreading hate about? That's what we need to see. And it's not us or the white people that follow you and look up to you. It's the people that you hurt because of your actions. That's what matters. My best advice to you is to really take this time off of the internet and look inside yourself and become that better person that you've said several times that you have become. I really hope this is a lesson to influencers out there, that you can pretend to be something that you're not, but that's only going to last for so long. Eventually, people are going to see who you really are. I hope that those people are ready for that when that day comes. It's obvious that I don't believe Brooke, but what I will say is that I really hope that she takes the time away from the internet to really look at how she's affected people that don't look like her. She has an opportunity here to make a big change and a big impact. I'm sorry, but I keep hearing about all these donations that she says she's making. It takes more than donating. Donating is great. That is a great first step, and I do commend her for doing that. But it takes so much more than money and donation to become a better person. You need to go in and learn about these communities that you have spread so much hate about and see how that impacts their life from day to day. I really do hope that you become the change that you say you want to be. What do you guys think about this story? Make sure you let me know in the comments below. That's going to be it for today's video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you want to stay up to date on all things theme park, cruise, and travel, and internet gossip, make sure you like and subscribe so you never miss a video. Until next time,